Hello and thank you for joining me today. I'm Jan Clothier from Thinking Stamping and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in New Zealand. Today I'll be sharing with you how I made this little circular mini easel card made using the Botanical layers set from the 2022 to 23 annual catalogue. Now I made this little card as part of a colour challenge for As You See It, which is a design team I'm on, and the four colours that we had to work with were Petal Pink, Polished Pink, Orchid Oasis and Starry Sky. So an unusual sort of sunset evening colour combination, which is how this card came about. So anyway, I'll start off by showing you what you need to do it and how you make the easel. In fact, I was inspired to do this card because I was looking through some cards that I'd made in the past, and I don't know, in 2019 I made a little circular easel card like this using the little elephant set, and I thought, oh, that'd be quite a nice thing to try with a different set. But obviously the key part is making the little easel, so there's just a little trick to it and it's very simple, so I'll share that with you. So the things that you're going to need to make this card, apart from the Botanical layers set, you definitely need the layering circles dies, because they are what you use to make the circles with. So you need to start off with a piece of your base colour, which in this case is Starry Sky, and it needs to be large enough for the largest scalloped die from that set. So the real simple little thing that you need to do with this is, I've got a piece and it's folded. Okay, so you fold it in half. So this is approximately 18 centimetres by 9. All it really needs to do is to be large enough to take that die. And then what you do is you offset it a little bit, and then you die cut it like that, and that gives you a little hinge where the fold is. And so here's the one I did earlier, and you can see that if I layer the die over it, you know, there's just a little gap, and that's the overhang on the fold. So you put it like that, you run it through your Stampin' Cut Emboss machine, and you end up with a little wedgy thing like this, a little book like that. And then what you have to do then is get your paper trimmer and go about halfway. I mean, it's not like, you know, if you're a millimetre out each way, it doesn't really matter, but you're looking for approximately halfway through, and then just score it. And what that's going to do is give you the little fold to make the easel with. Okay, so you need a piece of your base colour about 18 centimetres by 9. You need another piece large enough to take a full largest scallop. Now remember, this is the largest of the layering circle scallops. So you need another one like that. And then I've used, this is a little bit, you know, depends what you're going to do, but what I needed now was I needed a circle in basic white, and that is the largest plain circle, and that is for that little mat that's on there. And then I needed 2 of the next size down. So that is the next sized plain circle. You can see they fit inside each other like that. And I've got 2 of them because one of them I'm going to sponge and decorate. The other one is for the inside, which I've decorated also. Now you could have made it a slightly bigger one and then just trimmed the top off it if you wanted to, but I've chosen to go for a slightly smaller one. So 2 of those. You also need, well, to make this card anyway, you certainly need 2 little pieces of Orchid Oasis and Petal Pink to make the butterflies. And this is a critical one. You need, oh, and those butterflies come from, I should have said, those butterflies come from the Meadow dies, and it's that little die there. You could use any butterfly, you could use small butterflies from this set, Brilliant Wings. But you also need a tiny piece to make that little one there. And that's a key piece of your easel because it's what I've made the little stand to hold the easel up with out of that little butterfly. So you need something like that. If you're not going to use that little butterfly, you need something to do that function of being the door stopper for the top of the easel. Okay, so that's all the bits you need, and then after that it's pretty much just straightforward making. So the key thing really is the blending. So I've got my blending brushes. You can see they suffered a little bit of my pink one suffered a bit of an accident in the making of the original card. But I started with Petal Pink because, you know, generally speaking, you start with your lightest colour first. So again, tap it on, tap it off, circular motions, bring it over. Now, because this is a very pale colour, it's going to take a bit of time to build up some colour. But when you're happy with the amount of colour you've got on Petal Pink, moving on to the next colour, which is Polished Pink. Because it's a stronger colour, even more important that you do some tapping off. So tap to get rid of any excess, and then you're going for gentle circular motions coming onto the page. And you want to pay special attention to the blending line where the two colours join, because you're trying to avoid a harsh movement from one colour to the other. So you want to go not only onto the clear white space, but you want to do some down onto the colour that you've already done. And again, but just build it up until you're happy with how much of that colour you want. I'm actually going to clean off my blending brush a bit, because I want to go back. And this is where I sometimes wish I had more blending brushes, but by and large just having one for each colour works. So I'm going to go back in, and I just want to add in some more of that Petal Pink, especially over the blend line, just because I want the transition to be smooth rather than a jarring jump from one colour to the other. Okay, now I'm going to move on to colour number 3, which is Orchid Oasis. So time for a switch of brush. Again, strong colour, so tap off first so that you minimise your chances of getting a big blob. And then okay, and you can give it as much or as little as you like. Okay, so we'll pop that aside now and move on to the darkest colour, which is the Starry Sky. Now I'm not going to blend any of that into my background, but I am going to use that for my main stamping. So I'm going to use that image there, but obviously you could use whichever ones you like. Tap the ink on, and I'm going to just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, because I like to give time for the ink to transfer. I'm going to do a second one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Couple for luck. And then I'm also going to do just a little second generation one in the background. Now, for the sentiment, I thought that these moody, soft colours were quite good for thinking of you. So I'm going to do that. Now I'm just going to check I've actually got the stamp up the right way, because you will have noticed I don't put the stickers. All of the cling sets do come with stickers that you can put onto the back of the stamps, but I just don't like doing it. So I always have to do a little double check just to see. Okay, so thinking of you. And then the other thing I did was I took some of these lovely little, I don't know what they are, fluffy little seed head stamps, and they come in, there's a large, a medium and a small. Now I've got the medium and the small here, and I'm just going to add them in. You have to pay a little bit of attention, because a small stamp on a big block has potential for disaster if you rock them, but got away with it. So that's that. And I'm just going to attach, I'm going to close that before there's a disaster. And I'm just going to attach that to the larger of the white circles that I've done. So just whoop, and join those together. Get them centered. Use the wiggle room of the glue so you can get it nicely centered. Okay, and now I'm going to do what I'm going to do on the bottom. Now what I did there was just I used to sort of tie the two halves together. I actually used Orchid Oasis on the bottom rather than Starry Sky, and really it was just a random or a semi-random stamp near the bottom. And we'll just clean that one and that one, and we'll just give them just a little bit there. Again, you can do whatever you'd like on the base of your card, but that stamping is done. So now it is time to really just pop it all together. Now you've made that fold so that the easel can stand. This piece is going to go on the top to make the full card front. So just get our glue, move that stamp out of the way, and I'm just going to glue here, because if I glue the back of that 10 to 1 I will get some exposed ink. So I'm just going to put a bit of ink there, sorry, glue, bit of glue there, and I'm just going to line that up. You just want to go over the back and check that the scallops have lined up nicely and, you know, nothing's hanging where it shouldn't. So now we've got our little easel going, and I think I'm just going to pop that there so that when the easel goes up you can see it peeking out. So a little bit of glue there, and we shall just pop that in there. Now, the thing I'm going to do next is I'm going to get a little mini dimensional. I'm going to get my little tiniest butterfly, and I am going to just pop him there. Okay, so I can see where the easel's going to sit. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some glue on the back of that, and I'm going to sight that in there so that my sentiment is straight, and then I'm just going to use that glue wiggle room and try and get an even amount of scallop showing in behind. And finally, I'm just going to add some embellishments, and these are the 2021 to 23 in colour opal rounds, and of course polished pink is one of those colours, so I'm going to use some of those polished pink opal rounds, and I'm just going to pop one there to give it a little bit of oomph. And I'm going to, oh, I haven't put my butterflies on. I was going to say, why haven't I got enough, haven't used up enough opal rounds, and of course I'm missing a key ingredient, which is my little butterfly. So what I did with that was, in order to bring in some more of the colour, I had two butterflies and I've layered them one on top of the other, so just a little bit of glue to pop them together. Then I'm just going to curl up the top one a little bit. I'm going to add in my little opal rounds now. And I think we'll just do two. Whoops. Of course, it would help if they were in the right place. Okay. Now, I could have put that up on a dimensional, but I decided that I would just lay it flat. So I'm just going to pop just a touch of glue and place them onto the foliage that we've already stamped. There you go. And so now we are done. Now we have completed our mini easel card using botanical layers. I think that's a really sweet little card type, and I have made a little beautiful, it makes a really beautiful little baby card because it's small and it's dinky and it's sweet. So please feel free to experiment with using that style of card with, you know, all sorts of sets. I think it fits inside a standard envelope, or if you have a 12 by 12 centimetre envelope, it fits inside that as well. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you very much for joining me. As always, I'm happy to answer questions if you have any, and I can be reached through my Facebook page, my Jan Clothier Independent Stamping Up Facebook page, or through my blog, the details of which are going to pop up on the end card and are available in the video description below. So thanks very much for joining me.